The Irish potato is recognized as a strategic commodity with the potential to make a remarkable contribution both to increasing rural incomes and livelihoods and to improving food and nutrition security. More than 80% of the country's potatoes are produced in western Uganda. Irish potato is a food crop commodity that provides enormous investment opportunities and value. It's one of the most productive food crops in the world in terms of its yield and edible energy and good quality protein. Nutritionally, Irish potato is considered a well-balanced major plant food with a good ratio of protein and calories and substantial amounts of vitamins, especially vitamin C, minerals, and trace elements. Internationally, the market for Irish potato has 5 distinctive line segments that include seed Irish, ware Irish, frozen chips, crisps, and other miscellaneous products such as starch. The annual Irish potato output in Uganda is approximately 800,000 metric tons, produced on approximately 112,000 hectares, with an average yield of 7.14 metric tons per hectare. According to the research carried out by Kachweka Nozonal Agricultural Research Institute, KZARDI, which is under Naro, Irish potato is grown by more than 300,000 smallholder households. By 2015, the demand for Irish potato was up to 1 million metric tons. There are many varieties of potatoes, but the one which is favored the most is the Victoria variety. This is because of its short growing time and its high yields. Unfortunately, Victoria is highly susceptible to potato late-blight disease, and the currently combative methods of spraying is often too costly for the average smallholder farmer.
This potato is a very important crop in terms of food security of the country, because this is a crop where in 3 months you can harvest the crop. So in terms of food security, it is a very important crop. In terms of income, it is also supports farmers to generate money, to get money from growing the crop. Again, we see a situation in this area, we have small land pieces. It is also a crop that can give high production per unit area, and in this area we have small pieces of land, as you will see. So it is one of the crops that if you plant it on a small unit area, you can get maximum yields. So compared to other crops, this potato is a very important one. We have seen a situation where we see people migrating from this area because of the population pressure, and when they move away, they move with the crops they have been growing. So we have seen potato now being grown into non-traditional growing areas of mid to low altitudes, and that puts a demand on us to provide varieties which can grow in those low altitude areas. So as a research, we have to keep on working to make sure that we give farmers varieties that can grow in those lowland areas.
Potato late blight is one of the most devastating diseases, causing up to 60% yield loss in the sector. Uganda loses up to $128 million annually due to the disease. The late blight pathogen is difficult to control because it has become resistant to fungicides. The steps to curb the disease started when genes from the resistant varieties against late blight were introduced into the varieties in the laboratory at the International Potato Center, SIP, which is based in Lima, Peru. The genes were obtained from the wild relatives of the Irish potato from South America, that is, Solanum bulbocastum and Solanum venturi. Potato tubers, which were planted at the institute, were obtained from KZARDI from Peru through African Agricultural Technology Foundation. The mock trial was done in March 2014 and the real trial was done in June 2015 and harvested in September that year. The test took into consideration that the disease is rampant in high altitude areas where it causes 40 to 60% yield loss in the farmers' fields. Late blight is favored by temperatures accompanied by heavy dew or rain. The disease attacks leaves, stems, and tubers consisting of small, pale, and dark green spots that change into brown or black lesions depending on the humidity of the air. Under conditions of high humidity and cool temperature, lesions look water-soaked and expand rapidly. It is more damaging during cold, wet conditions. Other diseases that destroy the crop include leaf blight, tuber bacterial blight, bacterial ring rot, and knot root. There are also pests such as potato leaf hoppers, aphids, and beetles. In addition to growing suitable varieties, farmers are advised to use good agronomy practices such as mulching, removing and burning of infested plants, and application of fungicide through spraying. The most important measures are cultural control, use of resistant varieties, chemical control, and integrated disease management. Integration of late blight management has often been thought as one of the better disease management options in tropical regions where fungi are abundant in most months of the year. In Uganda, about 300,000 smallholder households grow potatoes for their subsistence living and for their income. Loss due to late blight can be up to 60% in Uganda, forcing farmers to spray fungicides often up to 15 times to protect their crop. This presents between 10 to 25% of their revenue from potatoes.
One of the challenges that we have been having with this crop is a leaf spot disease called late-blight. This is a disease that can cause up to 60 to 100% yield loss. And the farmers have been managing this disease through sprays. But they have been growing resistant varieties. Some of the resistant varieties, the resistance has broken down. And if you get a variety that resistance has broken down, the farmer can spend more than around 50% of the production cost on sprays, because these chemicals are expensive, and again, there is also a risk on the environment. So we would want to have as many resistant varieties as possible so that farmers can keep on earning from potato as an enterprise.
Challenge ezintungire ekyo kubanza no kugera eitaka ryenaganagire mbwenu eitaka kushanga oyinoku obundi kituremesa ninga kituteganisa okukontrolinga bacterial abo waba ina haka protein nundisha ryo ruguru yawe obumwe na leta nke mondezi ugwire ubundi kitumeza kuteganisa mbwenu eitaka kutakwatira hamwe ekyo nekizibu kihango. Ekindi ekizibu kitwine kiri kuteganisa neki abari kuri sizeryo hari abatungi we kuruga nka hamwe katugambe yazira byo musiri ogurimo bacteria uriti obundi zikagenda zikaraba umugwawe. Then ekindi kizibu necyo kushanga emondi nkahati ezitwinezi eziri ko zirabire umu screen house abahingi tibakazahwire nezabezi bari kwinga we yazireba nazireba nkemondi nkeveye mbwena ahabeyi kugira ngo twongereho kitatoga habo kuba waza kureba no shanga ezo muntu ari kuguza nitwo bari kwenda ngo babirizo bato mbwene eco naco cyari ekizibu. Kandi ikindi kizibu naco ne cya transporta nayo kuruga kuno abwe mihanda naco ne kizibu. Kandi hamwe na abakozi okutushaba esente ezahigura mu gukora ebyo nibyo bizibu ebingi zibyo nibingi konke ebyo nibyo biri kucira kututeganisa hamwe na bumwe n'ebintu kugura higuru kushanga nka fertilizer nk'emibazo yo kufuhirira ebyo byona biri kugura higuru nabyo nico kiri kuteganisa kucendeza amagoba. Then hati twineyo nekizibu cy'abashuma. Then ekindi kizibu ne cya late-blight. Late-blight omu Misiri ne tukora kubi munonga ekendeza hamashara gutwine tushanga twagitamwe sente nyingi na munonga nka Victoria yinge yiri kureba niyo embibo eri kukirayo eri kukurahuka kubabuka munonga etari kwehanganira kubabuka abo kuba ezindi nka za Rwangume no basa okufuhiramwe mirundi 3 yonka bwa buri omubwire bw'enjura nyingi konka eji no hise mirundi 5 nango bundo ushanga wayenda kwika no muri mukaga mwene cyo kituma ngo esente ziri kugenda mu kufuhirira munonga niziba zirya higura munonga abo ko imibaze yo turi kufuhiriza neba negura higura ushanga nka kiremwe kugura imitwaro umushanje aza waba nka ekemwe ya Victoria aha muheru waza kwika kusharura nushangwe tire mu nka kiri 10 aza akiri 10 wabaza mu imitwaro umushanje iyo ni imitwaro nshanje mbwe naho ubwene ko kubara na leba yo mufuhirizi na meizi ebyo byona mbweno late-blight ne tukora kubi munonga na munonga ali Victoria iyi nebizibu bingi kandi nobu eri kwera konka iyi nebizibu bingi cyo kubanza nebabuka iyi turi kweda late-blight nebabuka munonga habwo kuba nekwatwa umubabuko gwajuba wagihugaho nerahuka kubabuka kandi kwera kubabuka tekayera kurungi konka Victoria ko kuba girebereye neyera ohurere uracyakushemeza Victoria nebabuka nka ejo kubanza kwata moya eryoya niritandikira ahansi rije riri kwiragura oshengu baritire omumezi agari kosya rero eventually oshange eryoye eryo ryakwata empimbi nayo shengu bagishira miziga ari kosya kirebeke ngu yamara kire ehendeke kandi yaheza kwendeka ejo nebe takiri mondi mwenu Victoria nitukira kugikoresa umbazi gwa Victoria nka omu ekemwe rutemwe nyewe ninchira kukoresa kiri 2 kandi kiri 2 nizigura emitwaro mwenda emitwaro nene cweka kiremwe nendijo mitwaro nene cweka kiremwe ekiri kumanyisa rutemwe omubazi ninkoresa ubwo emitwaro mwenda kandi obwe haruho nabo kubane bafuhirira abari kufuhirira ninchira kukoresa abasigazi 10 ejo nemitwaro 5 ejo mitwaro 5 ejirikani y'amezi ninjeguza 12 nko buhire noshanga nakorese ejirikani 20 ejo nemitwaro mitwarena mwene ko ruzigito ushanga zakwata almost mitwaro 16 rutage emwe kandi ejo mitwaro 16 baza mwe mirundi eshate yiri kukoresa nebe mitwaro enga 82 mwe kiri kwerenga ngo noshango sho hiza sente nyingi kandi nyingi munonga kurunoja ngo ntubasa kubona nka embibe tari kubabuka kongera Victoria tukagishemererwa munonga.
Most of the variety that were released were from the International Potato Center, and they were evaluated by Kezardi. More than 10 varieties were released under that arrangement. Recently, a breeding program was started up which promises varieties which are more resistant to late blight disease. However, there's a popular variety called Victoria. It was released in the 1980s, but it tolerates marginal soils and it grows in low to mid-altitude areas. But we are now challenged with resistance breakdown. When the resistance broke down, it prompted us to work in partnership with SIP to create ways to develop transgenic potato. Starting with Victoria as a variety, it was tested in confined field trials and now it shows complete resistance to the late blight disease. Yield comparisons between non-transgenic and transgenic Victoria varieties have also been carried out, and this showed complete resistance up to maturity period, and the yield was multiplied up to 30 times. Due to this success, Naro is now in the process of developing a commercial transgenic Victoria variety. The lack of access to quality seed potato is also a major bottleneck in the development of the Irish potato sector in the region, and although this problem started coming to the forefront many years ago, the solutions have been ongoing until today. The regular cross-border trade in both ware and seed potatoes in East Africa necessitates a regional approach for the development of effective seed potato systems. Because of the importance of decentralized seed multiplication, more multiplication centers for basic seed need to be established. Along with insufficient pre-basic seed, land is another challenge for commercial seed production. The formal seed system accounts for less than 2% of the total seed potato demand in the region. Naro and other partners set out to promote food security and reduce poverty through farmer field schools, where farmers are taught how to grow quality seed.
Having experienced the problem of accessing quality seed, because at that time, the only source of quality seed potatoes was Kalenjin Research Station, which wasn't even producing enough for the potato farmers in Uganda. So we decided to actually bridge the gap between these researchers and the farmers. So this seed, basic seed, which was being directly given to farmers who were producing potatoes, we felt that actually it was a high quality seed which would be still multiplied, and then you get much more than what was actually being distributed. So we formed this association under the guidance of Kachwekano. At that time it was a Kalenjin Research Station, which later on was turned to be a research station for Kachwekano Zone Agriculture Research and Development Institute. When we started multiplying basic seed from Kalenjin and availing it to farmers. As far as coverage is concerned, our target was all these other potato growing areas of Uganda, mainly the southwest, the highlands of southwestern, the Mount Elgon area in the eastern Uganda, and then the West Nile area.
Irish potato growing has its challenges. There are pests, diseases, limited access to quality seeds, and farmers lacking in knowledge on the difference between quality seed and ware potato. Out of this, though, there are success stories. Stories from dedicated, trained, and passionate farmers who have found Irish potato farming very rewarding.
Konka 1998 tukatungaho mugisha hije kitongore cyabere ni kimanywa nka Afrikeya aza kije kine ekigendererwa ecyo kugira ngo kicendeza abantu ahabworo kandi n'abantu babone ebyo kurya. Then chamara cyakwatanisa na Naro Kazadi kandi cyashwa cyakwatanisa na International Potato Center aha bikwatirire n'ekihingwa ekemondi kureba ngo nisho kiri kubasa kurahuka okumara okwiha umuntu mu bworo. Aho kutwahingire hemondi 1998 bakatuhereza embibo yo monde yabere eri rutuku eshahitano kutwazihingire mu musero gutwazihingiremo itano za kilo 9 twasharuramo eguniya nkaga ni 5 aza ezakirigana na 20 mbwene eco kuzayezire n'abantu aha cyaro bazireba kikaba nk'ecyo kutangaza mbwene kaba nkemira ko ahanyuma yo kureba go musharuro no twatuzireberere abo kuba tukatungaho kwegese bwo kuturazirebe no kuturazifuhirire kandi nezo mbiboza kazirugire mu research zigeze icyonduze bwo zino mutaro neze twabapingaga burijo. Kandi aho kutwazerize cyarebeka mu group zona za Afrika yabereye ine igana 2 group yeteka koraje yatunga umusharuro gwa higuru cyatuma aba International Potato Center beija bari kureba umusharuro gutwine hamwe n'abandi sa aho nho batutandikireho okutwegesa mu mashomero g'abahingi agari kumanya nka farmer field schools mu mashomero anagatandikire nerigeitu eri nabiri ndi mundi chairman waryo Nyabyumba Farmer Field School ryatandika 19 ishomero ryatandika rikatandika kandi 2020 aho niho twaguraduatingire mbwenu aharyecho umubutamanyo butwabire twine nyowe ni Nsima Ruhanga abo kuba umukuguraduatinga nkaguraduatinga nka community based facilitator ni pioneer farmer facilitator wa Naro kandi hamwe na Afrikeya nko kutwayegire kandi bakaba tugira ngo batwegesa ngo nitwe twamara tuze kwegesa abandi. Eco cyo cyonka aha kuguraduating okwe nka qualify nga kuba seed multiplier. So aho mpaho niho twakundire okuhinga twagumanye twega kandi twashanga embibo eri mwakaseti. Kuna ezo shashya teze nahingire nyowe nkihamu eshaho 30 kandi 30 ezo nkazihamu emitwaro eshahemwe nkani njiguza emitwaro 5 mweno hakarwamo miliyoni 1 n'ekicweka. Eco nico cyankundisize kuhinga monde ahabo kuba cyakitaka tubagaho mweno kurwobwe twatandika kuhinga buri season turaguza emundi zikazitariho ziramara kandi eco kikambasiza habo kugira ngo unko muntu ari kutandika nagireba nka business kandi nayetenga ngo hashimire kuba hitaka abo kuba niyo duka wanoza kuhinga ushimire kuba yine itaka mweno ezinabire mbona nkangenda ningura kataka hati ya nizika 20
nkatandika no kuhinga bafemwe iyo mondi nkatandika n'aba Afrikeya kunuya batari kuhinga mondi hati ya ntwingira kimwe mondi kandi hihi buri muhingi wena nahinga mondi ahago kundeberaho bakahinga mondi eco kureberaho nkatandika ne bafemwe ndi kuzihinga hati ejo bafemwe yampereza almost inkeguti yemwe konka hatiya nimpinga eshahu 30 zembibo zemondi kandi ezo eshahu 30 nizimpereza almost eshahu 300 zemondi ngwene kasizo ne hoyire mbere nyeze eshahu 250 ekazi ezindi kucira kuhinga nimpinga ekazi 3 kwihani ntunga screen house ahabo kurango ni nyine embibo eboneyire hati nimpinga ekazi 3 konka nyine mu ebirungi hamwe na ebizibu emonde zindi kucira kuhinga nimpinga Victoria nimpinga Rwangume niyo Naro pot 1 Naro pot 2 and Naro pot 3 and Naro pot 4 hamwe na catch pot kandi nimpinga na Kinigi konka Kinigi nyowe ninjinga umubuche munonga.
And there ends our story on Irish potato. We have heard from the farmers and our scientists at Kizardi about the challenges and amazing solutions which Naro and its developmental partners have come up with to overcome and bring about success to all. Join the conversation on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube at Naro Uganda. We would like to hear from you.